My name is John Werner, and I am a venture capitalist out in the Boston area, and I write a daily column for Forbes on AI. And I'm a senior fellow at MIT, and I teach one of the most popular AI classes every semester at MIT. And I have the distinct honor of interviewing two of the founders of this company that we're all here to learn about and mark this milestone. I want to say something a little bit about our two co-founders. Andrew Feldman, the CEO of Cerebras, is a 5-time founder. He went to Stanford. Both his parents were professors at Stanford. A little known fact, and raise your hand if you did not know this, Andrew was recruited to play soccer at Stanford. Who did not know that? Okay, so you could probably see some of the competitive nature in him derives from that.
Who knew Stanford had a soccer program?
Yeah, no, Stanford soccer could take on professional teams. And he also met his wife on Tinder. No, he did not. He met his wife over Argentinian tango. Does anyone raise your hand if you've done Argentinian tango? All right, so that's where he met his wife. Sean is the CTO of Cerebras, and he's a 2-time founder. He grew up in Toronto. His dad was an electrical engineer, spent his whole career working at Ford. And while Andrew was a highly sought-after soccer player, Sean was a highly sought-after captain of an autonomous robots team at MIT. And he met his wife, their childhood sweethearts. And I asked him, because I knew his music, Argentinian tango. I said, "What music are you listening to these days?" And he said, "Taylor Swift." And I said, "Are you a Swiftie?" And he said, "No, but that doesn't mean he won't become a Swiftie. But I can tell you he's not a Swiftie now, but he is listening to Taylor Swift." I also learned in talking to him that he's been to Disneyland not once, not twice, but double-digit times. So I feel like, we're learning a little bit about these guys. So let's give it up for our co-founders. All right. So, there are a few others that co-founded the company, but these are the two that I'm interviewing today as a way to give you a snapshot of where this company has come from, where it is, and where it's going. So let me ask you, Andrew and Sean, how and when did you meet each other, and how does that relationship influence your leadership of Cerebras? And, is it to the point where you finish each other's sentences? Do you get into like marital fights? Like, what's it like being leaders? But go back to how you guys met each other and how long has it been? And times it by 7 dog years, because in this business, it's a pretty intense journey. So take it away, guys.
So in our last company, my co-founder, Gary, this was probably December of 2007. We just raised money, and I said, "Gary, who were the best people you ever worked with at AMD?" And he said, "There are only 2 people worth taking at all of AMD." And Sean was one of them. He was about 25 or 26 at the time, and for the next 17 years now, Sean has been sort of integral to everything we've built across 2 companies. So it's a long time now.
It has quantify been. That. How many years?
Let's not quantify that. But to your point about working together. You mentioned marital fights. He is probably the only person that I get into some serious borderline marital fight kind of situations. And part of it is because we're very, very different. But that's also why it works very, very well.
So when you get into those marital fights, does it take a company to a next level? Or is it like Chutes and Ladders? You go down a few spots.
Sean's usually right.
That's a good CEO for you.
We have that on camera, right? We have that on record.
Good. All right. Okay, next question. You guys created a revolutionary product. We've heard it today, 46,000 millimeters 4 trillion transistors, fastest in the world in inference. Now, Steve Jobs, and I actually spoke to someone who was considered Steve Jobs' adult supervision today. He was with him at Apple and Next and Pixar, and I asked him, was Steve obsessed with how long it took the Apple, the Mac, and the Next computer to boot up? He said, totally. He said, Steve would insist that you lose 10 seconds on the boot up. And he said he claimed it could save 100 human lifetimes every year. I guess he did the math, 5 million users, he said, of the Mac, if you could get it to boot up faster. So to you guys, I'm channeling Steve Jobs right now. Why does speed matter at Cerebras?
I think for the same reason it mattered for Steve. I think in what we want to do, which is help your applications, help your ideas take flight, latency and delay is the enemy. I think the longer it takes to get an answer back, the fewer questions you can ask. And I think it's that simple. If you're waiting, you're not doing work. If your machines are waiting, they're not being productive. And that's true across the range of AI, is that going slow is a huge tax on productivity and on innovation.
I think just like speed has enabled brand new industries in other domains, we're starting to see that it enables brand new capabilities, right? We had multiple speakers today talk about all the new capabilities that it can enable. All of a sudden you get models that are way more intelligent. You can all of a sudden do agentic workloads. You can reason through. Honestly, if you've looked at some of these really hard problems in some of these benchmarks, like problems that even PhD level students can't answer, it will enable that, right? And that's why we're so excited by what we're doing.
Great. So the chip industry's 70 years old, say, give or take. Why did you take the hardest path, the path that others dismiss? This is like an Indiana Jones movie. You got to go figure this out. Why did you do wafer scale, a path that people said it couldn't be done, and what breakthroughs made it feasible? It seems like the past decade we've done great on GPUs. Why do we need a big wafer chip? NASA said faster, lighter, or everything in technology has been going smaller and faster. Why are you guys going the other way? So there's like 3 or 4 questions there, but why? Sean
lied to me. He said it wouldn't be that hard. Is what happened. I think going smaller is really good if you're trying to fit into a phone. I think going smaller may or may not be good if you're trying to fit in a data center. I think one of the things I've learned from Sean and Gary and JP and Michael is to really how to think about an engineering problem, right? Our problem, the problem in AI is about the movement of information, the movement to memory and from memory, and the movement of intermediate results to other compute locations. And for that problem, a very big chip was the best answer. And we saw that, Sean and the rest of the team saw that in 2015. And they convinced me that they were right. And I think what we've seen over the next 9 years is that others have tried to do the same. First, the GPU got bigger. It was 450 square millimeters, and then each generation it moved up to 800. And now they're trying to put 2 chips together on an interposer. They're trying to make it look bigger and bigger and bigger, for exactly the same reason that Sean and JP and Michael and Gary saw, was that if you're on a big chip, you move information extremely quickly and for less power. And that's the underpinning of the performance we discussed today.
And what's amazing about this is, I think Texas Instruments, Intel, there are other companies that had all the resources in the world over the last 70 years that sort of thought about doing this and tried to do it, and none of them succeeded. And I understand that you guys had a Honda minivan, and that's where you guys met and kind of said, we're doing this. You're like the Blues Brothers, but different.
Yeah, we were trying to save some penguins. It's true. I don't know, Sean. I think one of the things that I have enjoyed most about the last 15 or 20 years is not really caring that other people couldn't solve problems.
Yeah.
Right? Is with the team that we have, if we come to the conclusion that it's a solvable problem, then what other people haven't been able to do doesn't cross our mind.
All right. So let me ask a follow-up question, Sean, on this topic, and this is for you. A lot of people know your company for hardware, but you're also a software company. What has been harder to figure out? I mean, I get the feeling you're boy wonder when it came to figuring out the chip. Was the software like really easy and it was like butter, or did that take some challenges too?
It definitely was not easy like butter, but I think that the reason, actually extending on Andrew's point, the reason why we've been able to make this work is because we've taken a real end-to-end approach and really thinking about the problem end-to-end. Right? It's not just about building the chip. I mean, sometimes we joke about it. It's like, imagine taking that chip and taking it to Dell and say, build us a server, right? It just isn't going to work. And so we took the approach where we're basically owning the entire technology stack, the chip, multiple layers of compiler software, high performance kernels, all the way into the machine learning frameworks, into the machine learning algorithms. And it's only because of that approach have we been able to build what we've built. And so a lot of people think of us as a hardware company, but the reason why Cerebras Systems is our name is because we very much see that you have to own the entire thing. And most recently with our launching of our inference service, I think very much so we are much more of a software company. And I'm extremely proud that we've been able to actually continue to change and evolve our business to be able to match the needs of what you guys all need from us.
Yeah. So I think a lot of today you've kind of explained, answered this question, but can you just tick off a bunch of the industries that you want to have an impact on, that you want to help transform? I mean, I think fintech, health. Like, what are some of the industries that you want to be a major player in, or you are a major player in and want to be?
I think the industries that have large data assets, I think healthcare and is an obvious one. We do a very bad job of it in the U.S. I think pharmaceuticals, an area that has huge data, we do a very bad job of it. I think the list of places that AI is going to transform, we just go industry by industry. I think it's going to transform the energy space. I think it's going to, I don't know what else you think, Sean, but I don't think there's a part of the economy that's going to be untouched.
No, that's definitely true. I mean, we all see this, right? Like, we're using ChatGPT on our phones, and so it is universal. But I think one of the areas that we are absolutely most proud of is especially in this healthcare and biotech space, because I think we see that this is where you can have a transformative impact at a societal, human level.
And right? Very quickly.
And very quickly. And so that's where we're most excited about.
Great. Okay, so for this next question, if I could get a little bit of quiet in the back, this is going to be a little bit like Family Feud. I'm going to say a word, and the co-founder that responds first can say whatever comes to mind. And so if people could listen to this, and then I got a closing question, and then we have a really special act. The Michael Jordan of his space is going to bring us home, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a moment. All right, first word.
Can we
the co-founders?
If we don't, am I allowed to pass?
Yeah, you can totally. Yeah, just don't say anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, your CEO will fill the void, I'm sure.
No doubt.
Right. Regarding your company, when you think of the word, what comes to mind when you think of the word latency?
None.
What'd you say?
None.
Okay, none. No latency. All right. Next one. When you think of the word Instant code generation. What comes to mind when it comes to your company? Go.
It's going to put me out of a job.
All right. Are you vibe coding?
No.
All right.
No.
I didn't even know what that was.
Yeah. All right.
No.
Next word. Power. You can both pass.
Well, I got one.
Yeah, go.
I think it's just insane how when we think about compute now, we're thinking about megawatts,
Yeah.
right? As the smallest unit of compute. It's like, that's the level that
It's like the red shift in seeing
it's
the
insane.
universe.
It's
Yeah.
insane.
Right.
It's going to change. Okay. 3 more. All right. Bandwidth.
Never enough.
Never enough. All right. Reasoning.
It's going to change the world.
All right. Last one of the speed round. Science fiction.
My view on science fiction is we are at one of those rare times in society where it is very difficult to tell what is science fiction and what is bullshit and what will occur in 9 months or a year, and that is a very exciting place to be.
All right. Well, my last question is, Andrew, to you. I spent some time with you, and you told me the story of Netflix and how before Netflix, you would drive to the Blockbuster. A lot of you Gen Zs don't even know what that is. You would drive to get your video. Then there was Netflix started mailing things. I knew the guy that was the chief product officer. Still know him. He was in charge of creating the streaming. It wasn't possible. Neil Hunt. And then broadband came around. Then you could stream. And then now Netflix is so successful that they have so much capital. They built a massive studio, one of the biggest studios in town. What is that story of the transformation of that one company in an industry? Why did you spend time telling me things that have to do with the kind of oxygen, the new normal that your company can bring about in other sectors? Like, why does that story resonate for you? Do tell.
I think the reason we include that story is that it's what's facing every one of our industries. Is that as AI is fast, I think if you don't become something different, right? If you stay mailing DVDs, and remember when they cut off the mailing of DVDs, there was an uproar,
Yeah.
right? Because the streaming wasn't very good yet. And there's everybody like, what are you doing? And you know, people are going to go back to Redbox or whatever and go to 7-Eleven and get a video, right? I mean, I think every one of our industries is going to feel that sort of transformation. And you're going to see it in the financial sector. You're going to see it in insurance. You're going to see it in pharma. You're going to see it that the companies that are dominant in what they're doing in a decade are going to look nothing like the ones that are dominant today.
Okay, so in closing, who remembers, point to the one who likes Disneyland or Disney World. Point to the one who likes Taylor Swift. Point to the one who is not a Swiftie. Okay, well, he's not a Swiftie yet. Okay. Point to the one that met his wife over Argentinian tango. All right, Andrew does not know this, but we have brought in a world champion, 3-time world champion, 3-time champion on different continents, on different genres. We have the top accordion player in the world, and he wants to make the accordion as cool as the guitar. I think he has a lot of work to do. I'd like to introduce to you the Simone Biles, the Tom Brady, the Michael Jordan of the accordion. And we used
Did you know that?
the chip, the big chip, the $1 million chip, the amazing chip, to create some lyrics of Andrew's favorite song, which is not Taylor Swift. It's a song by Eminem, Eminem, Detroit. And we have created a hybrid song of Argentinian tango and Eminem. And we have invited the world champion accordion player to play it. So what's interesting here is as we use AI to do amazing things, there is a human dimension to what we do with the amazing things. So think of this as a Mad Lib. You could swap out our Michael Jordan and you could put a life science expert who's going to help cure cancer. You could swap in someone who's helping with energy and sustainability. But we're going to have a human connection to an AI connection. Ladies and gentlemen, Corey Pescatero. And so
guys.
we're surprising you with Argentinian tango.
Yeah.
And
I am surprised.
The AI is going to create it,
yeah,
actually.
But then after that, will you play some Disney and Taylor Swift for our other co-founder? All right, butts to move. Go.
I knew I was going to regret this.
We're going to have Cerebras create this, actually.
Are you?
Are you?
Great.
It's going to give us, I don't know, are they going to do it? Slide? There we go.
Okay. Oh, this is for real.
Your team here, Andrew, is going to ask Cerebras to, here we go, write me the chords to a mashup between, I guess this is your favorite tune. Lose Yourself in a Piazzolla Tango. Look at this, gives you the tempo, gives you the chord changes. Why does it know so much about music? I'm not going to have a job pretty soon, Andrew. Jeez.
I think that's all our concern.
It wants electric guitar. Look, it's even got the chord changes that it wants. So we're going to do an Argentine tango version. Okay.